There are professions where making mistakes are extremely frowned upon. For example, pilots. Not so good to make mistakes. Or brain surgeons. That's another one. You get the idea. But most businesses, and for most of us in our careers, we don't like to make mistakes. They're not something that are easily embraced. I know I don't like them. But learning from our mistakes can be instrumental in our career growth. But here's a news flash for you. How can you learn from something that isn't ever talked about? You have to be able to be in an environment where you can discuss your mistakes. Be the Reason is all about human connections. Because no matter how much we think we know how we are being heard, there is one thing that I can guarantee based on my decades of professional experience. Other humans will hear us differently than we hear ourselves. In other words, the responsibility is on us to communicate as effectively as possible, whether in professional or personal conversations. So let's dig in. and figure out the best way for us to communicate our mistakes. First off, be proactive with talking about a mistake. However, don't be too premature about it. There are 3 components to discussing mistakes that I would like to share with you. First off, don't beat around the bush. Go ahead and just say the words, "I'd like to talk to you about a mistake that I made." Now think about that for just a second. If somebody came to you and said those words, what would be going on in your mind? I know for me, I immediately think about how courageous they're being, or I think about their vulnerability or their honesty. No matter what's going on in my mind, they have my attention. Number 2, the second thing I suggest after sharing with them that you wanted to talk to them about your mistake and explaining what the mistake was, is to say, "Here's what I did to correct it." Holy cow. When somebody approaches me and they say, "I'd like to talk to you about a mistake," and they share with me what that mistake was, and then they say, "Here's what I did to correct it," I am absolutely speechless, which doesn't happen very often. But I love that. And I'm really dumbfounded by the fact that they're not asking me to clean anything up or to correct anything. They're simply sharing what the mistake was and what they've done to correct it. The third recommendation I have, and here's what I've learned from it, is it less fearful for you to not share a mistake and to spend countless hours trying to hide it or worrying that someone's going to find out about it? Or is it less fearful to share the mistake, share how you've corrected it, and share what you learned from it? Fear is a very real thing, and I'm not about to minimize that. And which approach is the less fearful? That's the one you need to do. There is power in the words that you choose and the approach that you take. And this video is entirely focused on you being an effective communicator. I just want to encourage you to share your mistake. Okay, so let's try it. Repeat after me. I'd like to share with you a mistake that I made. Good job. Next, here's what I did to correct it. Okay, great. And the third thing is, this is what I've learned from it. Look at that. Easy cheesy. You've got the hang of it. So think about your environment and think about who you could share a mistake with and how you corrected it and what you learned from it to prevent that person from making the same mistake. You know what? That isn't only showing great character, it's uber professional. If you are a person that is impossible to share mistakes with, I want to encourage you to stop being like that. Like, just knock it off. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help the people that you work with. and it doesn't help your business. So be safe to share mistakes with. And you know what? Maybe you start changing your own behavior by you sharing a mistake. That could be really good for your career. But I would never ask you to try something that didn't work really well for my own personal growth and in my own career. And I'm letting you know that sharing mistakes can be an extremely positive experience. So go ahead, think it through, and then try it out. You've got this. By the way, if you enjoy this content, please hit subscribe below. Thanks.